Wow, that looks right, but how does it taste?
We all know that Gordon Ramsay is a chef to the core, but what happens when bad food and even worse business practices collide? Here are the top 10 worst foods served to Gordon Ramsay on Hotel Hell. Applegate River Lodge.
What is that?
Oh, I don't know.
It's a bleeping mess. Look at it. You can't use that.
Owned by Richard and Joanna Davis, Applegate River Lodge is located in Applegate, Oregon. The lodge was designed and built by the couple 22 years ago, but since their divorce, both their business and family lives have suffered. Joanna has to deal with debt, running a business, and settling family drama. Meanwhile, Richard is spending all his time with his, medicinal herbs. When Ramsay gets there, he asks about the smell that's following Richard, and while he's told it's basil, he doesn't buy it. He gets to his room to inspect it, and things only go downhill from there. There's a dog in the dining area, the kitchen is a joke, there's a mix-up between ranch and ketchup for a salad, and the food is revolting.
It's a bleeping mess.
Oh.
Gordon is absolutely embarrassed, yet amazed that the place is still running. He goes over to the guests' tables, and the complaints just pour in. Frozen salmon sprinkled with sugar instead of black pepper, cold and watery soup, and again, the dang dog sitting next to people waiting to be given food? Reviews are mixed, but this place is still open, so if you're feeling brave or you just want to take a walk in Chef Ramsay's shoes, check it out. The Keating Hotel.
I'm not too sure what to do with my arms right now, because this is where I usually start throwing things.
Oh, that's terrifying.
The Keating Hotel, located in San Diego, California, is owned by Eddie Kane. The main issue with this hotel is that it seems like all the budget was put into the cheap and barely functional design and not into other important things like the food. Gordon decides to order room service and is unimpressed. He gets one single cup of tomato soup, an unappetizing barbecue chicken, pizza, and old chicken parmesan sliders, all poor quality and served in plastic containers. Gordon says it's not exactly his idea of luxury. Unsurprisingly, the food is dreadful. Gordon then heads down to the restaurant to have a meal, and it's not any better. The pasta is bland and has way too much rosemary, and the dessert is just horrible. As soon as he sees it, he says it looks like there was a crisis with the toilet paper department. I've never seen anything so unappetizing as a dessert in all my life.
You're pulling my plonker now, aren't you?
Even though the totally overpriced and rank food didn't impress Ramsay, he managed to turn this business around. It's still open, so if you feel like having an eccentric stay, you know where to go. The Curtis House Inn.
It started off good. I arrived and I thought it was actually quite a stunning, intimate little place.
Said to be the oldest inn in the state, the Curtis House Inn is located in Woodbury, Connecticut, and is run by two siblings, TJ and Chris. They claim the inn is haunted and that many unexplained things are going on, or maybe it's just an excuse for the poor conditions. When Gordon arrives on Mother's Day, he finds a footprint on his pillow, dead flies on the windowsill, and the door lock broken. Ghost or no ghost, that's terrifying. But even scarier than the possible haunting, the food. The chef comes off as overly confident, saying that he's better than 95% of all restaurants he goes to, but Ramsay doesn't exactly agree.
And it's cold.
The first thing he orders is the crab cakes, which the waitress admits aren't really, well, good. Next up is the fried calamari, which Ramsay says is limper than his granddad's, well, you know what. Finally, the burger. Ramsay ordered it medium rare, but it's completely raw in the middle. What a shame. That is dreadful. Calumet Inn.
How can you eat that? If you knew they were off, why didn't you say?
Run by sisters Rena and Vanda, the Calumet Inn is located in Pipestone, Minnesota. Well, when Ramsay sits down to order his food, he's confronted by a gigantic menu. A huge menu that's cooked by the only two chefs working. Yikes! When the chefs are interviewed, they complain about the menu size and also say that they would love to use better ingredients, which they can't have because the sisters don't like spending money. The waitress brings Gordon his food, and he can tell right away that this isn't going to go well, and after one spoonful, declares it absolutely nasty. The fish strips are frozen and rock hard, so much so that he even mimics a hammer with his utensils. Again, he calls it disgusting. Gordon has no idea what is going on behind those kitchen doors.
You've just shown me over the last 3 minutes your attitude stinks.
It's like the chef is cooking in her sleep. He even asks her if she's given up and if she hates food. Horrific and inedible food was just too much to handle for anyone, really, and obviously too much for the sisters because they sold the hotel in 2015. Hotel Chester.
This is embarrassing because this should have been a family, close-knit, tight-run restaurant.
Located right next to a college campus in Starrville, Mississippi, Hotel Chester used to be quite successful. However, things took a turn for the worse when the owner, Molador, got into a car accident and was placed on bed rest for 6 months. His wife, Suki, was forced to leave her job, and the couple has been struggling ever since. Though Suki has no experience in the kitchen, she works there because they can't afford a chef, meaning all the food is being cooked by someone without proper training. And it shows. Gordon orders a bunch of sushi, but after waiting for what seems like forever, he gets up and goes for a little cat nap. When his food finally arrives, it's not exactly worth waiting for. He describes the Las Vegas sushi as gross and greasy.
You don't taste that?
I do now, yeah.
The weird combo of salmon and cream cheese just doesn't work for him. Then he tries the colossal sakura, way too big to fit in anyone's mouth, chewy and overall dreadful. He finishes off with the Strawberry Fields sushi, which is strawberries on top of white tuna. He pokes at it with his chopsticks, disgusted, and apologizes to every Japanese chef who's watching. After Gordon's help, the hotel was able to turn things around and is still open today, becoming a hit with college kids. Beachfront Inn and Inlet.
He's now seen how difficult it is to cook in that kitchen with nothing that works.
The Beachfront Inn and Inlet was opened in 2012 by Brian Paul, using the profits of his father's extremely successful fish market. While the hotel is beautiful, there are plenty of ugly secrets hidden within, like the food. It's not good. After looking at the massive menu, Gordon orders dried chicken wings, lobster mac and cheese that isn't even mac and cheese, and the absolute worst part of his lunch, the fish burger.
Why?
Because they use frozen fish at a beachfront hotel. Tisk tisk. He calls the owner out for false advertising on his menu, claiming everything is fresh when clearly it's not. But the horror doesn't stop there. In the kitchen, Gordon finds a pretty questionable bucket of bubbly pina colada stored in the back of the fridge, raw and cooked chicken being stored together, a big no-no because of cross-contamination, as well as fresh and rotten produce stored side by side. While this hotel is still open, and Gordon did the best he could do to help the business, recent reviews remain mostly negative. Juniper Hill Inn.
Rack of lamb? Seriously?
Poo-poo platter.
The Juniper Hill Inn is a 110-year-old beauty, but appearances can be deceiving. Owned by Robert Dean II and his partner Ari Nicky, this expensive stay isn't worth it at all. While both the inside and outside appear charming, the prices and the food are anything but. When Gordon manages to get his hands on a menu, they tell him that they run a fixed menu price of $59 for 3 courses and $74 if you want the lamb, which is one reason why the inn is considered snobby, and Gordon agrees. He orders the crab cakes, or as he calls them, mini crab cakes, and they were cheap, washy, soapy, and overall just dreadful. The expensive lamb was also a major letdown. Not cooked properly, with white fat on the side of the chop, and way too sweet. Surprisingly though, Ramsay does doesn't hate the cake. He does comment on how tiny it is, only getting half of a regular piece of cake.
What's cooking, Gordon?
Not dessert. Can you fix this?
$74. This place is insane. Half of my dessert is missing. But after one bite, he says there might still be hope for the restaurant after all. But much to Gordon's disappointment, the cake wasn't even made in-house. It was store-bought. The inn is now closed, so if you want to enjoy a snobby, overpriced food experience, you're going to have to find another place to go. Vienna Inn.
Scallops aren't for liars.
Vienna Inn was an Austrian-themed restaurant located in Southbridge, Massachusetts, run by a very dysfunctional couple. The couple, Jonathan and Lisa, bought the hotel back in the early 2000s, despite Lisa being against the idea. The rooms were cramped with ancient furniture, and Lisa's clothes filled the closets. It's highly disorganized, and the food is no different. They served Gordon a boar appetizer, which, according to the server, needed a bit more salt, and to Gordon was watery and soggy. He then went to the restaurant to order from the German menu, which wasn't much better.
I promise you, there's nothing gross in this sausage.
He got the rancid, chewy scallops, then he tried some old sauerkraut and messy mushroom crepes. After his meal, he headed down to the kitchen and told the staff he was just served one of the worst lunches he's ever had. It was that bad. I started eating edible flowers. Ramsay then said what everyone was thinking: they should close down shop because Jonathan's heart obviously isn't in it and Lisa's head is in the clouds. While they didn't close immediately, after a fire caused around $75,000 in damages, the inn shut down for good. Roosevelt Inn.
Bloody do something about it. Brilliant!
Run by an eccentric man by the name of John Hoff, his wife Tina, and their daughter, Roosevelt Inn is located in a rundown school building in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. However, John's really only there once a month, and the burden of daily business has fallen on his wife and daughter. The food is, sadly, no better than John's management skills. Everyone is served the same 5-course set menu, all cooked in their tiny, tiny kitchen. Gordon says the shrimp cocktail is ghastly and has to pour the excess juice out from his bowl, possibly condensation from the frozen shrimp. And everyone else seems to hate it too. But the disappointing frozen plates don't stop there.
But wait! There's more!
When he gets his salmon, he calls it the saddest looking plate of salmon anywhere in North America, with a bland seasoning and a dry texture. As a way to test and kind of tease the chef, Gordon asks him to make a soft-boiled egg. You know, just to see who he's dealing with. And, well, still raw inside, Gordon exclaims he can't even boil an egg. Ramsay did what he does best and gave the family some tough love, and the hotel is actually still up and running to this day. Brick Hotel.
Darling, crying's not fun. Homer's fun.
Bought in 2006 by therapist Verinder and her son CJ, this hotel is notorious for cutting corners. Because of Verinder's nasty attitude, they have an extremely high staff turnaround, with some only lasting one shift. The hotel is filthy, with mold-covered fabrics, dust coating everything, and stains on the ceiling. And, well, it's safe to say the food is a reflection of the hotel. They served Gordon a tasteless French onion soup, and his reply was to put salt in a glass of water. He said he wanted something more flavorful than his soup.
Plonker.
He then tries the cauliflower steak, which was unnecessarily messy, and a crab sandwich straight from a can. After the disastrous first dishes, he canceled his burger, saying he didn't want it if it was coming from the same kitchen, and that he had only brought a limited supply of pants. Despite Ramsay's best efforts to come to this hotel's rescue, ratings are still mostly negative. However, it is still open, so if you're willing to take a risk, nothing is stopping you from visiting. Stay right here and tap or click another great video. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to join our notification squad.